round of we would like to do a round of short check-ins, take up to 30 seconds to share any questions, comments, etc. from the last session, or how was the empathy buddy call, or any report from facilitating an empathy circle this last week. And we get back to the room and click continue. And get the screen up. So, Kathy Kidd, would you give us about 30 seconds of how was last week? Any questions? If you did a buddy call or if you did an empathy circle, how did that go? Thank you.
Well, last week was wonderful. I love this empathy circling. And my support call was great also. It's just so wonderful to get empathy and to give it. And that's my check-in.
Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah.
Ralph? Ralph, would you go?
Hi, sorry I missed you last week. It was unavoidable. I learned about this through Pace Bene, and we had a practice session. I'm in Lawrence, Massachusetts, north of Boston. Lawrence is 100,000 people, and it has more politics than Chicago. And I'm actively pursuing empathy circles here.
Thank you, Ralph. Welcome so much. Joelle, would you give a little report of how was last week? Any questions? Or how did the empathy circle go? Or buddy call?
Yeah, I think participation in the empathy circle process is something that I continue to evolve and learn from. And yeah, just a profound part of it, supports my healing process too. So I'm grateful for it.
Thank you, Joelle. Cecilia?
I'm very grateful for last time. It was that mutual, that collective meditation state appeared, and it was lovely. And I had I couldn't make a group, but I had this one person meeting, but she didn't know more to talk about for a full hour, so it ended up becoming a buddy call, and for her the first time. So, and she was good, and I had a good lovely buddy call as well. It was, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Cecilia. Tatiana, would you share?
Yes, I would also like to apologize for not being able to make it next week. That was also unavoidable. And that said, so this is my second time through Empathy Circle Facilitation Training, and I have already sort of put out the call for people who would like to be involved. So I have an Empathy Circle set up and ready to go like every Sunday going forward. But I'm excited to be here and to start this process again.
Thank you, Tatiana. Prasanna, would you share?
Yes, hi. So I feel progressive because it's my first empathy training. I did the assignment with my husband. So we spent an hour doing the one on empathy circle. Then I had Michaela with her. I did a 60 minutes of buddy call. So that was so helpful. So both these process really helped me to understand the importance of this structure. Because first for me, it was quite challenging. I thought this doesn't feel natural. But with time, when I'm practicing, I find, oh, this is so important because we hardly practice this in our day-to-day living. We hardly give time to reflective conversations or active listening or speaking with the full openness. So these structures are so important. With my husband, it was amazing that we were able to talk about topics which we hardly do in normal day-to-day conversations. So it was amazing in that way. And my buddy call also was, I had a lot of queries about the facilitation and all. She was so helpful. I thought that I was totally heard and understood, and My queries were also resolved. So it was amazing.
You, Prasanna. And Mina, would you share?
Yeah, hi, good morning, or wherever you are. I had a buddy call with Dominic, and I think it went very well. I haven't been able to find a group yet to practice some of this, but I'm looking forward to doing that because this is my second time around, and so I'm hoping to meet with some women tomorrow, in fact, and see if they will practice this with me for the next session.
Thank you, Mina. And Eric, would you share?
Hey, absolutely. So two things that stood out to me. One was, well, I have like the privilege of having some friends who already kind of bought into this, so it was easy to kind of get a group going, and it felt really nice. But I pushed myself with for the individual calls I posted on our neighborhood group, which is just kind of very eclectic folks. And I was really thinking of like a few people responded back. They were like, sure, I'll try it out. But really already thinking through like the marketing element of like how to like invite people into this. Cause I almost see a thread in my past experience with this of like people like, yeah, listening's great, but I don't need it. Or like empathy is great, but it's like something for like other people need that. So I'm like just thinking through that. Another element was a feeling a bit mechanical, or just like observing myself kind of falling into parroting back and not really connecting with the energy or the life of the other person. So I'm kind of examining that. And then Larry, if you don't mind me saying, we had a buddy call, which was very just fantastic experience for me. And I've really been thinking about the stuff that emerged out of that. It's been really like enriching my last few days. So thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Cynthia, would you share?
Yeah, I really got a lot out of the class last week. Just enjoyed it a lot, deepening the practice, and then had a great buddy call with Bill this week, and absolutely loved that as my empathy buddy, and just absolutely loving the process, both the deepening of practice and just the feeling I get while doing it, and while learning and expanding my skill set, but while just being in community with folks, it does a lot for me on multiple levels.
Thank you, Cynthia. Cecilia?
Andy speaking.
You did? I'm sorry. The screens are moving around. Prasanna, you already shared, right? Does that give
Yes.
going to, did I miss anyone? So we go back to my script, and I think that's it. Am I on mute? No. Did I miss anyone?
Do we want to check in with the trainees too, or
Well, all right.
since we have a little time, don't want to exclude them.
So should I start with Bill?
Sure. Well, I second, I had a great call with Cynthia. Yeah, and I'm really enjoying in a lot of levels. I'm participating a lot, and it's amazing how the empathy circle practice transfers across cultural, ethnic, whatever kind of divide you're saying, and really reaffirms our common humanity. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill. Lou, next on the screen.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm really happy to be here. Excited to see all of you again, and grateful for your participation, taking time to do this. Yeah, I was leading a training for the last 5 days, a leadership training, and there's a lot of listening that goes on in that environment, and it's in that process. And it's, I get reaffirmed again and again and again about the power of listening, both just in creating understanding, creating self-understanding, and actually supporting healing. So that's my check-in.
Celine,
And I have to say, I had a wonderful call with Kathy. I just really enjoyed that. Yeah, sorry.
Celine,
Well, I had a very interesting buddy call, and she's not here, and I'm a little bit disappointed because I learned a lot from talking with her, and so maybe she'll come in late. But anyway, I'm happy to be here today, and looking forward to practicing together. Thank you.
and Anne.
I really enjoyed connecting to Scandinavia for my buddy call and by lake, and I really enjoyed that buddy call at the weekend, and I'm looking forward to today as well.
Thank you, Anne. And Michelle.
Thanks, Larry. Yeah, I had a lovely buddy call with Prasanna this week, and it reminded me why I really love this community so much, because there's people coming in from all around the world that are already spreading empathy in their community. Like really, this just seems like a crossroads where we all just like stop and have a cup of tea and chat about what's happening in India and what's happening in Ireland and what's happening in America, and exchange, and we all come away more enriched from the conversation. So I'm really grateful. It was a gorgeous hour. So thanks.
Thank you, Michelle. And Ben.
Thanks, Larry. Hi. Yeah, in this moment, I'm just still arriving here. I think I'm feeling pretty tired and beginning to feel more settled, and really enjoying hearing everybody's experiences from the week, and little snippets of insight about the practice. Yeah, I'm excited to see where this is going and to get into practice. And yeah, I had a good buddy call with Joelle across time zones, brief moment of connection, and have an empathy circle on Wednesday. Yeah, glad to be here.
Thank you, Ben. And Graham.
Thank you, Larry. My appointed empathy buddy was with Juliana from Italy, and she wasn't able to respond, and she's not here today, so that's sad. I hope she hasn't been obliged to drop off. I do various empathy buddy sessions and empathy circles with people, but they all have the intention of sharing empathically. And I think about what Eric said, where it's other people who need empathy, and it's other people who need listening, but not me. And with my partner, there's some really deep frustrations around, because she has no intention, no awareness of needing to connect or accept that there's any kind of connection at that level. And this leaves me, fills my mind with resentments, but I'm realizing that I need to push those resentments aside, because her lack of intentions is actually very instructive to me. I need to work within the framework that she sets. And that's been a learning experience for the week. And I look forward to today. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Graham. And Dominique?
Thanks, Larry. I had a great chat with Mina, and it made me think about the experiential aspect of this practice. And like what Lou said, it's just very present in a lot of things I do throughout the week in the other volunteer positions I have. And I need to find a group to have an empathy circle with my high school friends. There's a bunch of guys, a few of them really like it, but there's one challenging participant I have to think about how to recruit more. And yeah, so I'm looking forward to today.
And Dean, thank you, Dominique.
Thank you, Larry. Yes, I buddy sessioned with someone called Aaron this week. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to connect with me, but we should be meeting tomorrow, doing a buddy call tomorrow. We did some empathy circles with the family this week, which was a good thing. My daughter's re-emerged from the fog of teenagehood, and we've spent some time circling, which has been a very precious, sacred thing, because listening and communicating across the generations is a really tricky thing to do, because the language may be the same, but the meaning is totally different. So we have to listen very attentively. And that has been a really good practice. So yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Dean. And I'll just share a little bit about, I had an amazing buddy call with Eric. Yeah, we probably transferred about 10,000 years of wisdom in one buddy call. It was just amazing. And had a great empathy circle also this last week. So I'm loving this. There's a paradox in this life. You know, the paradox of that each one of us is responsible for this thing, this body, this mind, this experience, this life. Each one of us is, you know, responsible for that. And there's an amazing experience when we come together and share ourselves with one another in a safe space. There's an incredible experience that transforms, you know, the individual into this oneness unit of we. And it's really a very enlivening experience. So I'll stop there. I'll ask Edwin if he would like to share.
Okay, thanks, Larry. Yeah, we have another cohort that I'm working on Saturdays, and we have open empathy circles there. And I created a LinkedIn event for it, and 3,300 people have signed up, you know, just saying they're interested in it. And about 40 of them showed up last week. So thanks to everyone that was a facilitator for that. And if you're wanting some experience, you know, come Saturday and you can actually facilitate a breakout circle. I have no idea, never know how many people are going to show up. So the more facilitators we have there to kind of support that, the better. So it's a place to get some experience, you know, facilitating a circle. And yeah, it's kind of exciting, just all the interest, really wide variety of people. It's really great. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Larry.
Okay, who's next?
And it was
that's
Lou.
me.
Yeah.
All right. So now I'm going to spend a few minutes answering questions that people posted in the post-session feedback form. So one of the questions was how to get people to come to an empathy circle, or how to share empathy, the importance of empathy, and empathy circles with people. And that's a reoccurring theme we hear over and over again. Eric referred to it kind of like, and so did Dominic. How do you get people to come in? And the short answer is, the two little bits of advice I'll give is so one is to say, I'm taking a course and I'm learning about this process and I need some help. I'm supposed to practice it and I need some people to practice with. Would you help me? And so asking people to support you in that way often will get people to participate. The other is a more general thing about framing, how you frame an invitation. And it's usually more attractive if you frame it in terms of the kinds of problems that people experience. So if you say something like, you know, I am feeling kind of isolated, and especially with COVID, not have a chance to connect with people as much as I have before, and I really want to do that. And I don't know if you do too, but I learned this practice that's really wonderful for it. If that's something you're wanting too, would you want to come? So trying to identify things that people want in their life and how the empathy circle might support that. And sharing that you have a desire for that too, not that you're just trying to solve a problem for them, but these are things you actually experience too, and could you do this together? That's often attractive to people. Yeah, so think about the things that you actually want more in your life and how empathy circles would support that and invite people into that. And we're at 10:21, so I'm gonna stop there. with the feedback. So who's in? So next we're going into
Celine.
the practice. Who's introducing going into our breakouts for today?
Celine.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. So we are going to be going into breakout rooms and practice giving mini empathy circles. So everybody will have an opportunity to facilitate a small empathy circle and give an introduction. And the context is that you will be facilitating a group of people not very familiar with the practice. So we'll do the introduction, and then each person facilitating will have an opportunity to select the topic, or it can be thoughts and concerns about being an empathy circle facilitator, or always the option of whatever is alive for you. And then there will be an opportunity for feedback and debriefing. And that's what we're going to be doing next. There will be a trainer in each group, and that person will be recorded. That's all I have here.
Okay, and in my circle, everybody is recorded. The whole circle is recorded, the one I'm in. So remember, trainers, to do the recording, hit the record and start and stop button, just a little bit of a reminder. So I've created the rooms. We're going for an hour and a half, and we have the room facilitators who will guide us in the next step. And I did put the topic into the chat, circle topic. And so I think we're ready to go into the rooms. And we double check here. Okay, here we go. And I'll give like about a 10-minute heads up before we close the rooms. So I'll come back. So see you there. And one group will stay here in the weight room with Dominic.
Sweet. Hello. So I will be the breakout room facilitator. So I'll be timing everything, but we're going to take turns as small group facilitators, and you will be timing yourself, like the 5 minutes or the 3 minutes. You will be saying, time up for the group. So how we're going to start this is we're going to take turns giving the how-to, introducing the circle. And I guess I will give feedback, and Edward will probably give feedback too. And then after we all take turns introducing the circle, we'll just do an empathy circle where each person will have a chance to be the facilitator to kind of set the topic or do the timing and all that stuff. So how does that sound? Any questions? No. Edwin? Oh, good. So to start, everyone will get 5 minutes to introduce. But to start, I'll have Edwin model a how-to. Is that cool with you, Edwin?
That's great. Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So let me bring up my topic list here. So welcome everyone to this empathy circle. I'm so glad you're here to take part. I find this is a very powerful practice that really contributes to connection, mutual understanding, and well-being. So I'm really thrilled to be facilitating this circle with you today. The context, as I understand it, is that none of you have taken part in an empathy circle and you haven't seen the how-to before. So I'm going to give a little bit of an introduction, like how we take part in an empathy circle. And the first part is usually the empathy circle is from 2 to 7 participants. Here we have the ideal number, which is 4. So what we'll do is one person will be the speaker, and they're going to select who they speak to. And we have the topic, which I'm going to put into our chat window right here. Let me just bring that up. And so our topic is going to be, what are your thoughts and concerns about being an Empathy Circle facilitator? Or you can talk about anything that's alive for you. So as the speaker, you select who you're going to speak to. You share a little bit, an idea or two, take about 30, 40 seconds, 45 seconds to share. You pause and you get a reflection from of your listener. And the listener is just going to reflect back what they hear you say, and then you sort of check out, did they get what I was saying? If they didn't quite get what you were wanting to express, you can say it again, maybe in other words. And the whole goal is for you to feel heard and understood to your satisfaction. So if they did hear you to your satisfaction, you share a little bit more, and then you'll want to pause and you'll get a reflection again. You kind of go back and forth like that for your 3 minutes. We're going to have 3-minute turns. And then if you have nothing else to say, you've just spoken for a minute, and you have nothing else to say, you can say, oh, I feel fully heard. And that indicates it's the turn of the other person to become the speaker. Or if you see the time, I'll hold up a little time here after 3 minutes. And at that point, you want to sort of wrap up what you're saying, get your final reflection, and then it becomes the turn of the listener to become the speaker. And in that case, then the listener becomes the speaker, and they'll select who they want to speak to. And the process kind of continues like that until they feel heard, and then whoever's the listener then gets to select who they will speak to. And like I say, we'll have 3-minute turns. And so to begin with, I'll be the first listener, and the best way just to do it is just to jump into it and just learn by doing. And I'm going to put in a link here too, this is if you have a little time, a 1-page introduction to how to take part in an empathy circle. You can always have that handy as a reference. And I'll put that into the chat. And just some tips. As a speaker, you want to pause often to give your listener a chance to reflect, what you're saying. And if you're the listener and the speaker is just going on and saying, oh, I'll never be able to remember all of this, you can say, oh, can you just pause for a second so I can reflect back? Or I might even just hold up a little sign, say, yeah, pause, remember to pause, just to kind of remind you. And so remember, as a listener, you're only reflecting back what you heard the speaker say. You're not adding any questions, any comments, any judgments. So with that, let's get going and ready. I'll be, just to model it, I'll be the first listener. So who would like to be the first speaker? And we can get started. And the topic again is in the chat. And it's what are your feelings about facilitating empathy circles? Finished. So that's so did you want to do feedback on that, Dominic, around so get everybody's feedback?
Yeah. Well, I want to highlight the key points that Edwin touched on that I loved. Was the first thing he did was saying, like, hi, I'm super excited that you're here, and talk about the personal impacts it had on him. And then he said, I assume you don't know the circle, so we're going to explain the actual mechanics of it. And then he went through the problem areas. Well, he had resources with the one cheat sheet, which is great. I haven't seen that before. But also the common, issues of, like, I'm a listener and they're not stopping, like giving you the power to say stop. Also just going through the prompt and ending it with saying, I'm the listener. Like, does someone want to speak? Like, actually getting it started. So those are some, I think, key points to keep in mind. Anything else, Edwin?
We could hear from others too, just get quick feedback from everyone, just how did that work for them? Any comments?
Sure, yeah, just across my screen. Kathy, do you have any thoughts?
You're muted.
I love the explanation. I was taking notes so that I can mimic that and make it my own also.
Great, sweet, thanks. And then Prasanna?
Thank you so much for that. I so required it because I had my goosebumps how to start, how to take it on. So I I also broke it down like Dominic did, that how you actually started with, that was a highlight, that first of all, being empathetic to the people who have joined in taking out their time and taking a decision to join in for an empathy circle. So acknowledging that fact and then going to why you are here and what empathy means to you. So a personal connect which you made there, that was quite powerful. It actually set the tone and the objective of the empathy circle. Because first, as a facilitator, why you are in your role, that sets a tone for the audience, but for the participants also. They have a buy-in there. So that was very nice, and definitely the empathy the instruction for the circle. I understood. I also made the notes. They were very important, and how you explained about the speaker's role and also the listener's role and the facilitator's role in that. So thank you for that.
Okay, great, thanks. So I'll just give a little heads up that you want to make it your own, whatever is comfortable for you. I made some notes about. I start off with my why, like why this is important to me. The context here is that you're not familiar, that you've never seen. You said, oh, I'm just taking part, that you haven't really. A lot of times people haven't seen the instructions, the how-to instructions or the how-to videos. So yeah, I'm just kind of sharing the context, and then I go through the how-to, and there are that one-page instructions, and then setting the topic, and then I'm the first listener too, just to sort of model it. So that's sort of the framework that I use. But it's really about when you give it the how-to, it's whatever works for you. It's what you feel comfortable with, and sort of what the context is too. So yeah, thanks.
Great, thank you, Edwin. Sally, are you there? We have it.
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm just leaving everything off because I'm not at home, and there's a lot of noise where I am.
Yeah,
no worries. Let
me just say I've had.
Sorry,
okay, I've had a lot of success. I've had a lot of success with empathy, working with my husband. I just really got my brother and sister incredibly excited. And, you can't get everyone to participate. Some people are just afraid. They think it's going to be some kind of psychotherapy. But I got one of my friends who is Republican, and I felt really proud of myself that she participated and loved it.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds great, Sally. Thanks for sharing. So I guess for context for today, we're going to have everyone facilitate their own circle. So if you're okay with that, we might make you or have you do what Edwin just did, which is kind of introducing the circle. Is that okay? Thumbs up? Great. Cool. Sweet. So with that in mind, does anyone want to go next and do what Edwin just did?
Okay.
Oh, great. Thank you.
I can go first. Otherwise, my heartbeat, I will just burst.
Okay. So whenever you're ready, and if it goes over 5 minutes, I'll just, so yeah.
Sure. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Welcome to, I think, your very first Empathy Circle. Very glad that you were able to take out time for this. I'm Prasanna, and I come from India. And I was also recently introduced to this circle. That's why I'm in service for you today to help you out to understand the process of the Empathy Circle. And this is an amazing platform where so many communities and so many people of culture come together and have a mutual understanding and respect. This is a forum, this is a safe space where we can know about each other and talk our heart out, and knowing that someone is there to listen to you. So this is the core, and let's dive in. I am coming with the assumption that this is the first Empathy Circle for you. So these are a bit of instructions that will support us in having a good discussion and meet our objectives. So this is a very simple format. Here we have a speaker, someone who is going to speak about the topic which I will just share on in the chat, or anything which is alive in you. You can speak about that. And then you have an active listener also. An active listener is someone who's going to listen to whatever you have said and reflect on what you have shared. And then they are going to be an silent listeners also in the group. So we are around 5 people today, which is an amazing, group cohort, because we usually have from 2 to 7 people. So this is an amazing set that we have 5 today. It's so that we will have more discussion and more observation. This gives that opportunity. Going more deeper, so how it's going to work is once you start speaking, everyone has 5 minutes to them so that they can speak about the topic or anything which is alive in them. Whenever the time gets over, I am going to share this time thing here so that you know that 5 minutes are over. This is just for your guidance. And when you are speaking, it's very important that try talking about 1 or 2 ideas at first when you are sharing, so the listener gets the opportunity to understand and reflect, and that's how things progress, so that you both get in that way. And for the listener, it's very important that it's very important to reflect on the essence of what you are hearing. And if you're not able to understand anything, please, you're free to again ask about to clarify the thought, and keep on having this conversation till the time the speaker feels fully heard. So that's the whole idea about this. And yeah, going forward, I think so. Let's dive in. Let's have the first round so we get more clarity on the process. So it's more about experiential. Just now the instruction might seem very heavy, but let's dive into it. Let's have this first round of discussions. I can be the active listener, and I will request someone to join in as an active speaker. And let's go ahead then. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Prasanna. First, let me ask you, what did you like about what you did?
Yeah, I'm just able to think about what I didn't do well. So yeah, the first thing I liked that I was alive myself. I was present in the moment. I really wanted to share the experience with everyone present. So that's sort of feeling I inside me. That I liked. Yeah.
Great. Okay, so now I agree. I like that as well. What do you think you could work on, you personally?
Be more confident in terms of like clarity of the flow of how I want to do the flow of the whole flow. Maybe practicing it a couple of times is very important, because like I was going to and fro. When I was talking about the speaker, then I was jumping into the listener also, and then coming forth and not completing the whole thing. So I somehow found that the people are hearing might get confused with the instruction. I was speaking way too much. I could have actually made a more crisper version of it, and that can come out if I write it down. That's the way I work. If I write things down, I tend to buy in myself and become more confident. So that's a process which I follow. I thought, because I didn't do that, so I sort of was sounding confused myself. I don't know. I don't know how you guys felt about it.
Yeah, are you open to feedback from the rest of the group?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, well, first, what I loved the why, like in the beginning, the reason. I thought you were very live. I agree with that. And I liked how at the end you said, this is a lot of information. It's probably a lot of heavy, like, let's just get to it. And kind of like using that, the empathy of just like, this is a lot. I agree with your comments of like, I think breaking it up into, let's just focus on the speaker and then just get all the nuances out and then do the listener. I think that would be also a great next step, but great job. You know, first time is really hard. So.
Thank you.
Edwin,
Yeah, every time I do it differently. So, and so even I forgot, I didn't even need to talk about the roles. Now, when you did, I said, oh, I forgot to even say the roles. So I really appreciate you having the roles, you know, speaker, active listener, and kind of mentioning those roles. And then just the enthusiasm, you know, the why, you know, you have a lot of enthusiasm. So just a lot, when you're enthusiastic and enjoying kind of the process and excited about it, it's like, people are just like, oh, that's great. She's excited. I guess it's going to be really good. So yeah, I thought, and I'll second everything that Dominic said too.
Great, thank you, Edwin. Kathy?
Oh, yes. So Prasanna, I love your energy. It's so beautiful. I wish I had some of that. And yes, I agree with all of the comments you made about yourself. The beginning was very passionate and it really engaged me. And I know with experience, you'll get more clear about the middle part. And I also loved when you said, let's get to it, right? So yeah, it was really wonderful.
Great, thank you, Kathy. And then Sally, do you have any comments for Prasanna's intro?
Hi, I would just say as far yeah, just a little bit of footnotes to, you know, kind of shrink it a little bit, but I thought you had this incredible energy that it just went beyond anything. And I just wanted to, one little tiny bit that I've discovered with the empathy circle is that it's not about the active listener. It's about the active listener letting you listen to what you've said. And it's the learning experience of the speaker and how they hear, you know, back an experience that. So anyway, I just threw that out. So, thank you.
Great, thanks, Sally. Sweet, so great job. In the interest of time, let's move on to the next person. Sally or Kathy, either one. Would you guys like to do the intro?
I'll go. I feel a little intimidated after Prasanna. I thought Prasanna was very good. So.
Ready when you are.
Thank you. So welcome everybody to, I'm assuming most of you, this is your first empathy circle. And so I'm here because I love empathy. The first time I came to an empathy circle, I was sold. So I hope that you feel as passionate about it as I did the first time. So I want to explain a little bit about what we'll be doing. So we have 5 people. The typical circle is 2 to 7 people. So this is the ideal number is 4. So when you're facilitating your own empathy circles, if you decide to do that, 4 would be a good number to start with. So we'll be speaking and listening. And so we each have a 3-minute turn to give each other empathy. And so if I'm the speaker, I'll speak and you'll reflect back what I've spoken. And it's good to pause like every 30 or 40 seconds to give the person reflecting time to really reflect what you said without getting too bogged down in too much stuff. And so when time is up, I will hold up a sign that says time. And so you can just wrap up what you're doing. If you're speaking or reflecting, just wrap that up. And also, if you are not pausing, remembering to pause, I'll also hold up a remember to pause sign so that you can give the person reflecting a chance to reflect what you've said. And so we'll keep doing that. Once the speaker is finished, then the listener will be the speaker. Right? Once the listener becomes the speaker, And this, so he or she's the speaker at that point, and they'll choose somebody to listen to them. And then once that's done, that listener will become the speaker, and we'll choose somebody to listen to them, and we'll keep going around and doing that. So 6 minutes total, 3 minutes each, and then we move to the next pair. So I'll be the first speaker, first listener. And so I'd like to get started. Who would like to be the first speaker? Did I get that right? Speaker, listener.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's definitely really confusing
All right,
to do that part. Okay, Kathy, what did you like?
I like that I was not as nervous as I thought it would be. And that I was able to kind of remember the process and not have to look at the notes. But in the future, I'll have my bullet points ready so I don't miss anything. And my energy was a little bit higher than I thought it would be, because I'm kind of a calm appearing person. So I have to, like, get my energy up. And
Sweet.
Yeah, I think that's it.
Great. And then what could you work on, in your opinion?
Oh, just being very clear about what the steps are. Yeah. And sticking to that, not adding too much fluff, just being very clear about what the steps are, so that the audience is clear.
Are you open to feedback?
Yes.
Yeah, I actually thought you were really clear. Like, that was one of the things. It was easy to follow. Like, it was very succinct. I like that a lot. And one thing I would point out is, in the beginning for the why, I think you could go into the more specific areas that made you passionate about the circle, like maybe how it impacted your life or your family or your work, or like kind of give examples.
Yeah.
And at the end, I think I should have brought this up earlier with Prasanna too. I think it's helpful to say, oh, let's get started. Here's the prompt, and like say what the prompt is. And
Yes.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, great job.
Thank you.
Edwin.
Yeah, I'll jump in. Yeah, it felt very calm, relaxed, and clear, and that passes on. Like, I felt calm, and so it's like you have this deep sort of calmness to it, and I kind of admire that, because it's like I feel like I try to really move quickly, and sometimes I would like more of a calm, relaxed approach like you have.
Yeah.
So in terms of the time, I think you said something about 6 minutes. It was 3-minute turns. So it is just 3 minutes turn. It's not like, I wasn't quite clear if you thought it was 3 minutes each, or if that was just
Oh, yes, I did. I thought it was 6 minutes for a pair.
It's 3 minutes. It's whatever the time is, it's the pair time. So usually it's 5 minutes, but because we're really short on time here, it's very short. We're just doing 3 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it.
Great. And then Prasanna, any comments?
You were so confident and calm at the same time, which was amazing. Okay, we are very different, my and your, and I was like Edwin said, like, oh, she's so calm. That's so nice. That energy was, that calmness, it was actually spreading across. So that was beautiful, Kathy. So that was a highlight for me. You were very crisp with the instructions. Also, it was coming very clearly, okay, what we are supposed to do. That was there. Yeah. Feedback also, Dominic, I need to share?
If you'd like.
Are you open, Kathy?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Okay. It was similar, actually. I like that thing. I think so. Definitely the why portion. We had more time could have been there. I think in the instructions also, the topic, I think so you missed that. What's the topic of today's session? What are we going to engage with? I think so that was one of the part. But rest, it was like, actually it's not a feedback also, it was just it's just there. So it was amazing to hear. Thank you.
Anna.
Yeah, and Sally, do you have any comments for Kathy?
Sure. I thought it was very well done and organized. And I really thought she did a good job. And I was really impressed with what she did. And I had a few comments, that the timing does change. In the introduction, I guess that would depend on what the group decides. And then in addition to that, there's, I guess, bringing up the active and silent listeners. I don't know if the silent listeners, so each of the roles separately, and that the object is for the speaker to learn what they have to say. And so in the beginning, when you're talking about why you do the empathy circle, you might integrate that idea in there as well. And I don't think that a lot of people have gotten to that point yet. And the timer, that there is a facilitator or a person designated to be the timer. That role has to be designated. It's just another little thingy that it comes around at some point. And I've been doing this long enough to realize I did everything wrong a million times. So
Sweet.
thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Thank you, Sally.
Thank you, Sally. Okay, sweet. So last but not least, Sally, do you want to do the intro and we can do the comments and then get started on the empathy stuff?
Sure.
Great. So you have 5 minutes. I'll be timing you.
Okay. Hi. I want to give you an opportunity to learn about the Empathy Circle. And for this Empathy Circle, each person will have 3 minutes to speak. And there are a number of roles. There's the facilitator, and there's the speaker, the active listener, and the silent listeners. And so you start, and as the facilitator, typically you'll be the timer and the time is set. And you give the opportunity to the speaker to talk, and you are the timer and the active listener, and you let them speak on any topic that is alive for them, or what there's often a topic designated for the okay, I have to go. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so anyway, at that point you start and have the speaker, and they do their 3 minutes. And during the process, I would say every couple of paragraphs, they pause, and if there isn't a pause and excessive talking, then you have set up like a little sign to let them know to pause, so that the active listener doesn't get lost and can reflect. And I kind of want to just say that you go around and the active listener becomes the new speaker, and then they choose an active listener until everyone has been a speaker and an active listener. And I think that's it.
Great. Thank you. Did you say you have to leave, or do you?
Oh, I don't know. My husband was just, he didn't realize I was on video.
Got it.
And yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks, Sally. How
Sure.
did you feel about that? What did you like about that?
Well, I kind of lost myself when my husband kind of interrupted, but I kept cool. And then once he realized, he walked away. And so I was a little, I would have to say, cluttered. And it was a little bit of a disappointment, but I did say everything that I wanted to say.
Great. Okay. Are you open to feedback from everyone else?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Well, I liked how you went into the roles and were very concrete about like the procedure of everything. That was very clear. I think the one thing is you could add like the why you like the empathy circle in the beginning to be like, yeah, like, or like, why did you start in the first place? And then I think at the end, you could have said like, oh, I'll be the listener, like, let's get started. So I think it was more like, here are the rules, and then that's it. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Cool. Thumbs up. Edwin?
Yeah, I'll second what Dominic is saying. And I know when as a facilitator, it's a lot of responsibility. Plus, especially when you have other stuff going on, like we had a heating evaluation today. We had people coming in. Oh my God! So it kind of throws you off. So it's important to have a quiet, grounded space. But you can never control that all the time. So yeah, in terms of the roles, like I said, I'd forgotten to do the roles, so it's good to set the roles. And also I think there's just your enthusiasm, just that you're really sticking to it. You just keep at it, and I think that's what's really important, to have that commitment, which I think comes across. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Edwin. Kathy, just going across.
Yeah. So Sally, I agree with everything just said. And I just want to say I love your slow, deliberate instructions. It's really nice to get very clear about what we're doing and to say it slowly, because this is the first time for people. So I really like that.
Thank you, everyone. And yeah, thank you, Kathy.
Thanks, Kathy. Okay, Prasanna, any
Yeah, it's a similar point that others made, but there was clarity because experience was showing when you were speaking. So irrespective of what was happening around you, the clutter, the voices, because you are traveling, still you came out clearer, irrespective of what was happening. So that's kudos for able to do that.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So that wraps up the intro section. Edwin, how much time do we have until we have to go back?
We have 1 hour, so I can skip
great.
doing the facilitation, and then you can divide that time by 3, so each person, the others can
20?
facilitate 20 each. Yeah.
Okay, and then maybe we'll leave a few minutes for debrief at the end.
Yeah.
So like 17 minutes. Yeah, and then with 3-minute comments. So I will be. Does that make sense? Does everyone know what's going on? I can explain. So I'll be timing 20 minutes. So say, Kathy, you'll be the first facilitator, for example. You will say, you already did the how-to, but you will be running the show, so to speak. So you'll be timing 3 minutes. You'll say, I'll be the first listener, like Edwin will be the first speaker, and then you'll make sure everything goes. For 17 minutes, you'll do that. The last 3 minutes, I'll say, any feedback, we'll debrief, how did you feel? That'll be 20 minutes total. And then we'll switch to the next person, Prasanna 20 minutes, Sally 20 minutes. That'll make it an hour, and we go back to the big group to debrief. Does that make sense? Thumbs up, any questions? Cool. I guess since I mentioned Kathy, I guess would you like to go first? Okay, cool. You're muted, but yeah.
So I'm the facilitator, so I'll be doing the timing, and I'll hold the time up sign and remember people to pause if that seems to be not happening. Okay. And I'm going to do this until we're at 17 minutes, and then we're going to have.
Yeah, I'm timing the 17 minutes, and then we're gonna have a couple minute debrief.
Gotcha. So I just timed the 3 minutes. Okay.
Exactly.
Great. All right. So I'm going to be the listener. Who would like to be the first speaker? Sally, go ahead. I'm listening.
Hi. Yeah. Well, yesterday I'm just going to talk about my experience trying to get people to participate with me doing empathy. And I think we had a work assignment of 60 minutes of empathy. And so that was, kind of a tough act to follow. I did talk with my brother, and which was, he's willing to do 10 minutes. So I'm just going to stop there.
Right. So you are getting started with all of this, and you had an hour to do empathy, and that was kind of tough for you to do an hour. And you did find your brother was willing to do 10 minutes with you.
Right. And so he did 5, and then I did 5. Then I called my friend who, I don't know what happened, but she literally hung up on me. And so I think there's a big preparation, to I don't know if maybe someone came to pick her up, but she never even called me back.
So you found a friend who you thought would do empathy with you, and then she didn't do it, and never called you back, and you're kind of confused about what might have happened there.
And then, so I decided to call a friend. It was like, wow, can I really do this? Can I transcend to a Republican? And it was fantastic. She was excited about doing it. And it just gave me a feeling of, bipartisan hope that we're all the same. We're all the same. And we just need to learn to listen to one another. And so it was exciting.
So the person you thought might be least likely to do empathy ended up being a Republican, and it was very rewarding for you to do that. And you had this realization that we're all people. It doesn't matter whether we're Republican or whatever, that empathy is valuable for everyone.
So I ended up, in essence, doing about 20 minutes of empathy instead of 60.
I'm gonna have to learn how to use that. Thank you, Sally.
So I feel fully heard. Thank you.
Thank you. So now, Sally, you'll be the listener. And who would like to be the speaker?
You're actually the speaker, Kathy. So you want to select your listener?
Oh, I'm the speaker. Okay. All right. Prasanna, would you like to listen to me? Okay. So I time myself, right? Right. This is very exciting to be in the second session of this, and to hear everyone, their excitement at learning, and to be witness to that is really rewarding for me.
So this is the second session, and you're very excited to be a part here and to meet different people, and it's really rewarding to witness the whole process.
Yes. Yeah. And just exciting to be doing something new and bringing something into the world, that I didn't birth, but I'm like one of the children, so to speak, that will be taking this out. So an adult child. So I'm happy about that. And I think most of all, I'm just excited, which is unusual for me. I don't get too excited too often.
For you, this is quite a new thing that you feel like a child again, if I'm clear, and you feel so excited. And this is something very new, which usually you don't get that excited, but with this whole thing happening and the people around, it's very rewarding and exciting experience
Yeah.
for you.
Yeah. I haven't gotten that excited in a long time. So, and what I mean by being a child, I mean, this isn't my baby, it's somebody else's baby, right? So I'm helping bring it out into the world. Yeah. And I like doing that. I like not having to be like the originator of something.
So the excitement is after a very long time, and definitely this is someone else's baby, but being a part of the process and being able to make it alive, get it alive, it's really wow for you. And you really don't want to be the creator of things, but being a part of something greater, it's exciting.
And then there was another piece that I wanted to say. I didn't realize how important empathy and reflection are. It's so simple, but it's so deep and so rewarding. And I had no idea that just these two simple things could be so rich.
Okay. So, sorry, I missed the part because of my speaker. The empathy and
reflection.
Reflection, right? Sure.
Yes.
Thank you. For you, actually, that whole interrelation between empathy and reflection can be so rewarding, and this gave you that opportunity to be able to identify that thing, and that was quite new learning for you.
Thank you, Prasanna. I feel.
Do you feel heard?
Yeah,
heard,
I do.
Kathy?
I do. So Prasanna, now you will be the speaker.
Thank you.
And so you'll choose somebody to listen.
Okay. I choose Dominic. Will you be my listener? Thank you.
Yeah. Sounds good. Listening.
Yeah. Sure. So for me, yesterday when I was in my buddy call with Michelle, I had a lot of the whole process, a lot of queries were there. And that whole, so I was discussing having this whole 30 minutes extended to 60 minutes call, and I was totally engrossed in that. And the whole time my husband was sitting there observing me what I was doing. Yeah.
So yeah, I hear that in your buddy call with Michelle this past week, you had a lot of questions, and that your 30-minute call turned into 60 minutes, and that your husband was right there just observing you the whole time.
Yes. Yeah. And I was very excited, and Michelle had such good energy. So we both were like exchanging ideas and listening each other out. And this whole process, I was getting a hang of it. Like, oh, this is how it works. That whole wonder around it was like coming alive in front of me. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I hear that you and Michelle had a really exciting and energizing conversation, and it made you kind of excited and see the wonder within the exercise.
Yes. Interestingly, after the call, my husband says that you are doing this for the past couple of weeks. I see you meeting people, doing these exercises. But why haven't you done this with me yet? Why haven't we done the empathy circle?
That's good. Yeah, so I hear your husband is saying like, oh, I've seen you meet up with people in the past week and do this exercise. Like, why aren't we doing this together?
Yes. And I was like, wow. And like, okay. And I just went into the bed, we were sitting, and he started speaking about things which are going on in his mind, the pressure and all, about his childhood. He just started speaking about it. And I was listening. And I was listening with my heart open, and I could see the difference in how I was reflecting. and how that conversation was maturing. So that was beautiful.
Yeah, I hear you had a really beautiful experience with your husband, and at first you were surprised, you're like, wow, and then you guys sat on the bed and talked for a while, and he just started talking about like what was going on in his mind and like the pressures he feels, and I hear you noticed like a difference in how you were reflecting and how the conversation was maturing, and I guess that's my time, but yeah, sounds like a very great experience.
Thank you. Thank you for listening, Dominic.
Yeah, of course. Can I pick Edwin, I guess?
Yep, listening.
Sweet. Thoughts and concerns. Okay, I guess I'll talk about the friend group I want to host a empathy circle with. I have this one friend who I brought up in the other training, but he's like kind of resistant to it because he's a nice dude, but I don't think he like introspects much and kind of questions his mental health, and yeah.
So you're going to talk about, I hear you want to talk about that friend who doesn't really want to do this practice, and he doesn't sort of introspect, and kind of wanting to talk about that.
Yeah, and like the other friends in the group all really appreciated the practice. Like some of them were sharing their struggles during the pandemic and their mental health issues, and my friend kept saying like, why are we doing this? Like, why can't we just talk? And so I had to use the training from session 3 and 4 to say like, oh, I get why this is uncomfortable, but the point of this is to have the structured conversation.
Yeah, so with the other friends, they're into doing it, and he's like questioning. It's like, why don't we just talk normally? And you applied some of your learnings from the training to, I guess, address his questions.
Yes, and since then, since taking the training and since I stopped doing the empathy circles with the group, he's like come up to me and been like, hey, like I understand that, or he kind of apologized. Like we were like at a friend's like party, so he was like a little buzzed and honest, and he was just like I get it was like group therapy for some of the guys, and I guess I was a little self-centered to not even think about them.
So that friend, he came to you, he was maybe a little buzzed, drank a little bit, and he started actually shared his appreciation for what you were doing.
Yeah, so I wonder in this next time around, me reaching out to all of them, how it'll be different. Because I see that entire friend group every week to play basketball, and so scheduling a Zoom call might be easier this time around now that we see each other a lot.
So you're just wondering how it's going to go the next time you meet, like on a Zoom call, now that he's more on board, if it's going to change things.
Yeah. Sweet. Yeah, thanks, Edwin. I feel fully heard.
Okay, thanks. Sally, can I speak to you? Are you available?
Hi, sure.
Yeah, I love hearing all these stories. These are amazing stories. It's like, yeah, I'm pretty excited just about hearing all these stories.
You are really amazed and excited about hearing all these stories, and it's making you feel warm inside.
Yeah, and excited too. Yeah, it's the I do see there I saw a chart somewhere. I can't remember, like levels of I don't know. There was like a hierarchy of sophistication of something like, and one of the things is genius, that something is genius, and then above genius was simple. So it's this hierarchy, you're this level, you're that level, you're a genius, but then there's simple, which is even more. And I think that's the thing that Kathy kind of addressed, is the empathic listening is simple enough that I think it could really spread, very widely, very quickly, if we can kind of get momentum. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that simplicity, that things don't have to be very complicated to be effective.
Okay, so you saw this hierarchical chart, and at the top of the chart, well, there was genius, but then on top of even that was simple. And so the profoundness of the being able to understand that empathy reaches beyond genius and connects people together. And so that's kind of, you need
Yeah,
to.
exactly. It's just that, and I did an empathy cafe. I was on the topic of racism, and a lot of this stuff came up about racism, how you can't talk in society, you're either racist or anti-racist, and there's no room for dialogue in between the nuances. And then we did the empathy circle, and people were getting into the nuances. And then one person said, it can't be this simple. It's like, it can't be this simple, you know, in terms of people sort of understanding each other. So I think that was kind of interesting. It's just the way he kind of said it. It's like, it was just like he was kind of in shock. It's like, because he was kind of being heard, people were hearing each other, you know, we're kind of bridging a lot of these divisions. And it's sort of like your Republican friend, right? It's like, oh, if we can just hear each other, we don't start seeing this Democrat Republican layer, we can get past that.
So you were in a group exercising empathy in an uncomfortable environment with the discussion of racism, and you actually found that you could bridge the divide and have people realize that it was so easy to communicate and get to a point that they never thought was even feasible or possible. Just like my example I made with my Republican friend. And
yep, I feel fully heard. Yep, I'm good. Thanks, Sally.
Sweet, thank you. So that was the, my bad,
17
that
minutes?
was 17 minutes. Yeah, so
Okay,
we
great.
can debrief. How'd that feel, Kathy?
It was great after I got rolling. And when I held up the time sign just now, and I don't know if Sally saw it or not. I wasn't sure what to hold it up a second time or what to do.
I can just say my husband came out. I was afraid he was gonna open the door and interrupt again, but he just went to the back of the truck, thank God. And so I was way out there.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
It wasn't as difficult to do the timing and follow as I thought it would be. That turned out to be a little easier than I thought it would be.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. I think you did a great job. Yeah. It's I think it's just getting the hang of it, honestly. Does anyone else have any comments before we move? Yeah, Edwin.
Yeah, just a quick one. Move very smoothly. Sometimes you can have a little beeper for people, like Sally's on a cell phone. If you see that they're on a cell phone, she probably only sees me. I mean, I saw it and I was doing the speaking, so that was okay. But there is that sometimes having a little timer that's like subtle in the background, or saying up time or something like that for people who, yeah, that's it.
Great. Any quick comments, Prasanna or Sally?
I really just had a blast listening to Edwin with his, relating to my experiences with the local people who are just, you have to treat people as people, not as, you can't call a person a racist. You just can't, because you find out everyone is a racist about something.
Sweet. Thanks. Prasanna, last comment.
Yeah. I thought, Kathy, you really got a hang of it. You were doing amazingly well, listening also, speaking also, and then timing also. I thought it's going to be a tricky one, but you did it very nicely. You're a very confident person, Kathy. It comes across, and that was amazing to watch and learn from. I was learning how you were conducting things. I was observing, so it was amazing to have that opportunity. With the timing, I also have that question. like you had, like with the timing sheet, is just, this is open to everyone to answer. Also, I have this query which Kathy also had. How does this work in terms, we are showing the timer, but people want to complete the talk and the conversation, right? Because, rather than leave it in between. Is this just a requesting thing, or we really want to be like very strong with it, with the timing?
Edwin, do you have an answer for that?
Oh, yeah. So you hold up the time. That means that the person should kind of wrap up what they're saying, in a sentence or two, and then get their final reflection too at that. So you want to have them give the final reflection, then move on. Yeah. So it is relatively, you're trying to keep within time just for fairness. So everyone gets a fair amount, but you don't want a harsh ending. Yeah.
So sorry, the technicality, 3 minutes a pair has, then the timer is shown after 3 minutes rather than in between.
At 3 minutes. And I kind of play with it sometimes.
3 minutes
I
is up
kind
now.
of, it won't be exactly, but I try to get it pretty close for fairness, if that makes sense.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Great. Okay. So we got 36 minutes. So to get a few, I think I'm going to do 15-minute turns now. So we have 3 minutes each going forward. Prasanna or Sally, do either of you want to go next? Great job, Kathy.
I think I can go next as a facilitator. Sure.
Sounds good.
Take care.
15 minutes starting now.
Sure. Cool. So we have done the introduction. Let's dive in. I'm going to be the timekeeper for the session. So each pair has 3 minutes in total to speak and to reflect. And then we pass over to a second pair and then the third, like this, the whole rounds go. Let's start with this. When after 3 minutes, I'm going to show this, sorry, the time thing, the white paper. So this is intimation that 3 minutes are over and to wrap things up. This is in terms because so that everyone gets a chance to speak and reflect. So let's follow that time limitation. Let's start. So for the first thing, I'm going to be the active listener to roll the dice. I will invite someone to be an active speaker. Someone wants to volunteer? We have Dominic here. Cool.
Yeah, I can speak. My time start now?
Yes.
Okay, great. I kind of wanted to relate to what you were saying last time about doing empathy circle with like a loved one and like a family member. I just kind of am curious about what that would be like.
So you really liked what I shared in the previous circle about doing the empathy with a loved one, and you would really like to know more about that.
Yeah, and just thinking like what would happen if I did a circle with my family, and like there are certain people in my family I know would be open to it, and then others where I just think like they would be like they're not as emotionally curious, so maybe not.
So you're just curious if you do this with your family, knowing people, some are not that emotionally available and open, some are. So how it's going to be turning out. So you're really curious how will this turn out with your family members.
Yeah. But if there's one thing that I learned throughout the pandemic and spending time with them, it's like that I can't really read their minds as much as I think. So like maybe I'll be surprised by the ones who are I think will be resistant. Maybe they'll be open to it. Yeah, who knows?
The pandemic has shown you different sides. Like we really can't read the mind of other people. It's something very surprising and unexpected things can come up from people which we don't even imagine. Maybe the people who you think are not open, they might open up, and that might come as a surprise for you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And yeah, even with friends. I mean, I just wonder how if I were a marriage therapist, if I recommended my clients to do this, like I wonder how much it would fix, because it seems like it would, right?
So you're just imagining if you had the opportunity to be a marriage therapist and you recommend an empathy circle between couples, so you're curious that how will it really fix things up? So, which in my case, you think it was doing.
Yeah, and I definitely put my bet on that it would fix things, because I just like I've been thinking, I'm like 22, but I've been thinking a lot about relationships and learning that like I don't think there's a thing like over communication is not a problem that I see. I think there's nothing bad that can come from overly communicating and like in general with relationships.
Yes. So you're 22 and you do think about a solid relationship, and you feel that having an over communication is not a negative. It's good for relationships. So yeah, you want to find a way through that.
Yeah. And I just think that the empathy circle is a way to communicate deeply. And thank you. I feel fully heard.
Thank you, Dominic. So Dominic, now you are the active listener, and you need to now use a speaker.
Oh, so actually, so now you are the, wait. No, so now you're the speaker, sorry. And then you pick the listener.
Now I'm the speaker, sorry. Okay, I will get a hang of it. Okay, now I am the speaker, and maybe I can have Dominic as the active listener. No. I can have Dominic, right, as an active listener now?
You could you could if you wanted to. But then I would be the speaker again.
It's good to spread it, kind of get everybody. You want to get everybody. Okay. It's your choice though, but you definitely, it's nice to get everybody.
Sure.
Yeah. But if you wanted to respond to something,
Sure. Thank you. So, okay. Thanks, Dominic, for the time. Now I am going to be the active speaker, and I choose Edwin as my active listener.
Okay, listening.
Will you? Sure. So definitely taking the conversation forward with what Dominic was saying about relationships, empathy within relationships, and how does this really work?
Yeah, so you wanted to explore how empathy works in relationships, sort of building on what Dominic was saying.
Yes. So definitely for any relationship, it's very important. You don't have to be a therapist to understand that for any relationship for that matter, with close people, colleagues or friends or parents or anyone for that matter, communication is the essence of strengthening relationships.
Yeah, you're really seeing how communication is important for strengthening any relationship.
Yeah, irrespective. And nothing is like over communication or under communication. Having open communication, a non-judgmental communication with your loved ones, providing a safe space to them, because family is such a bond. If we can't even have a safe space within families, like it's just for namesake, right? That we call each other bloodkins. It's just for namesake then. That's why it's so important to have that safe space within families also.
So you're seeing the importance of communication in families, the safe, open communication, because otherwise it's just in name only that you're a family. You kind of have to sort of have this intimacy, listening to have a real deep connection.
Yes. And that's why, because in my personal life, I have seen that how not communicating with people around you and not opening, listening to them also, receiving, having that reflection with them can actually break things. I have seen that happening in front of my own eyes with my parents and all. So from there, I learned. That's why with my husband, we make it an opportunity not to repeat those mistakes, what I've seen growing up with my parents, that for us, communication is so important, irrespective of anything. We will take our time to communicate at the end of the day about how things went.
Yes, you've seen in your own family with your parents how the lack of communication had sort of negative consequences. So you're really making it a point to have good communication with your husband.
Yes. And this empty circle was actually why I'm participating, is professionally, but also for personal things, for personal
Okay,
reason
so you're
also.
really wanting to do the empathy circle for your profession, but also for your personal relationships, and yeah. So okay,
Thank
well,
you.
I guess I'm the
I
listener
feel
then. I'll
heard.
speak to Kathy. Yeah, I see that too. You know, we've done empathy circles in my family, and it's been very helpful. I think the question for me I'm thinking about is the agreement. Like here in the empathy circle, we have an agreement that we're going to do this, and it really helps to have an agreement. You know, it's like, can we agree we're gonna have this empathic relationship?
Mhm. So you also see the importance of using empathy in the family, and it also helps to have agreements around that, like we do here.
Yeah, and I'd even thought in terms of giving the how-to instructions, saying, do we all agree to this? Can I get a thumbs up, so that there is that agreement that this is how we're going to listen to each other. And in the family too, it's like a Dominic's friend or whatever, it's like, I don't want to do this. I don't agree to this, you know, and it's, so how do you get that agreement, make the case for the agreement? And so I think that quality of agreement is sort of an area that I want to explore more.
So because agreements work so well in the empathy circles, you'd really like to have those in the family also, and wondering how can you enroll the family in agreeing to those agreements.
Yeah, I've almost thought of it like a constitution, like a country has a constitution. This is what our agreement is, and we can refer back to it. So can we have like a family empathy constitution, or we want a culture of empathy in our family? Can we agree to that? And what does that mean? And part of it means that if a conflict comes up, we're going to take it into an empathy circle, or whatever. We're going to try to listen to each other, you know, every day or every other day going to have an empathy circle. So I'm really thinking on how do we build on that agreement aspect.
So you're really jazzed about bringing this into the family and having a constitution or something that really makes this very clear how important it is to listen to each other and have some agreements around that.
Yeah, I feel fully heard. Thanks.
Okay, so now it's me. So somebody's going to listen to me. Dominique, do you want to listen to me?
Sure, yeah, sounds good.
Okay.
Ready when you
Yeah.
are.
I love the idea of family agreements. I live in a family that would not agree to that. They would think I was nuts. I'm kind of an outlier in my family. So I'm used to, you know, being different.
Okay, yeah, here you're relating to Edwin's point about a family agreement, and that you like the idea, but that your family would maybe not be one that would agree with it, and that you're used to being an outlier and in the family, and that yeah, getting kind of used to that.
Yeah. Sometimes I wonder why I was born into the family I was born into. Yeah, I'll stop there.
Yeah, well, I hear that sometimes you wonder like why you were born into the family you were born into.
Yeah. I'm so different. You know, what would it be like to have a family that really valued things that I do and really was as psychologically minded as I am?
Yeah, so I hear you wondering like what if I was born into a family that valued the work I do, and or you do, sorry, and that were more as psychologically minded as you are.
Right. I envy people that have families like that. And but I also know that I have to get along with this family because I came here to learn something from them. And I have pretty much transitioned to that acceptance.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I hear that you wonder like, or you envy families who are like that, but then kind of turn it around and say you something to learn from this experience, from this family dynamic, and that there's value in it.
Yeah. It feels good to express this. I haven't expressed this in a long time. So I guess I still have that longing to be part of a group where we live this together, like whether it's an intentional community or, whatever it is. But yeah, I still have that longing.
Mm-hmm. So here that you feel kind of, you haven't expressed this in a while, so it feels good too. And that there's a longing to kind of feel a sense of belonging in a group, whether it be like an organized group or whatever it is.
I have a lot of groups where I feel a sense of belonging, but I've never had a family where I felt that way. Like, just people that are close to me living in the same space. So I just wonder what that would be like, waking up in the morning, going to bed at night, and there's this beautiful harmony, even though we might have to work at it.
Gotcha. To finish up my time, yeah, I hear that there are groups where you do feel a sense of belonging, but it's that like aspect of family that you wonder, like, what would it be like to wake up and go to sleep with people who you felt belonging with, and there'd be harmony throughout. And that's my time.
Yeah, thank you. I feel heard.
Great. So that was the end of the whole 15 minutes. Prasanna, great job. How did you feel about that?
It would take me time to get a hang of the timer and things, because for me, when I was speaking, it was because I was in the mode of speaking, I was totally there engrossed. Then I forgot, I need to time also. And when others were talking, again, I was getting engrossed in that conversation, and I was forgetting, the timer is also there. So getting that facilitator hat is very important in this. So maybe I will get a hang of it. That was something I did. I was able to do the timing, but I can do it with more finesse. I think so. Yeah. So that was the thing. The second was I got a bit confused about how it goes. Like the speaker speak, then there's someone to listen, and then the listener becomes the speaker and chooses someone else to listen. So like this, the circle goes.
That's why you start as the listener, because you listen and then you're the speaker.
Listener.
So you model both roles.
Yeah, and then I get the yes. Oh yes, so that others can observe and learn from that what I am doing. Because first I listened, so I gave that reflective model for everyone to observe, and then I became the speaker to give a model of how to go about it and open up more, and how they can open up more. So I took that opportunity to share something more deeper, so others feel comfortable about that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Great.
Sure.
I got 1 minute till the next. Anyone else have any comments for Prasanna?
I'll give a quick one. In terms of the turn taking, I mean, it went really well. I didn't see any issue with the timekeeping. So there is the aspect of sort of being responsible for the circle, timekeeping, so forth. I find takes some of my consciousness, which keeps me from being fully present, and that's just something you got to get familiar, get comfortable with. You just can't let go totally, right? It's like you got to think of the time and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, but I think everybody has that more or less that concern, but you just got to get better at it. But it went very well as far as I could see, from my side.
Yeah, sweet. So I want to make sure that we have enough time for the next debrief. So if you don't mind, we can move on to Sally facilitating. How does that sound?
Sure.
Great. So 15 minutes start now.
Yeah. We're in an empathy circle, and I've experienced a lot of benefits. It went from just being in the training, and then it was kind of like a tsunami. I was able to connect with people in my family. Never thought that was possible. And my husband even. And so anyway, there's a process in the empathy circle where there's a speaker, and the speaker is timed. And in this circumstance, it's for a 3-minute period.
Sally,
And
can I just quickly interrupt? You only need to facilitate, you don't need to give the how-to again. Just be the first speaker and ask who would like to be the first listener and ask who would like to be the first speaker. Because we
okay,
already did all the how-to. All you're doing is timekeeping. And you might, because you're on a cell phone, you might want to ask someone else to timekeep unless you've got
that
a
would be
timer handy.
fantastic. Can I call on you, Edwin, to speak?
Okay,
Or is that
sure.
a problem?
Yeah, and Kathy said she'll timekeep, so
Okay.
I'll speak to you. Yeah. Yeah, I'm really excited about, I don't know, I said it before, but I'm going to say it again, just to hear all the positive kind of comments and about the importance of listening and of empathy is just very, very satisfying.
You're very excited and encouraged about the comments that people are making about the importance of listening.
Yeah, and also this cafe on Saturday, I hope you all come to the Empathy Cafe to help. You can help facilitate a circle so you can get some experience. We'll put you into a breakout room and you'll actually get some real experience with facilitating a circle. And I have no idea how many people can come. Like last time it was like 40, you know, so it's pretty exciting.
So you wanted to invite everyone to the Empathy Circle Cafe on Saturdays, and it was a great experience and encourage people to come.
Yeah, you can facilitate, so you'll be able to actually practice, you know, facilitating a breakout room. And it's a lot of new people. So with new people, you'll see that they don't understand how to reflect. You're going to start having some real challenges. Like here, everybody's reflecting quite nicely, you know, following the rules. But there you get a bit of experience with challenges of people not understanding how to listen. They're going to put their own stuff in and stuff like that. That's where it starts getting a little bit more challenging.
So in the Empathy Circle, you'll have the opportunity to be the actual facilitator and to learn, well, to be able to deal with the challenges that, you know, might be a distraction or anything that comes forward, and to work with the people on, you know, the active listener and the speaker, and giving right kind of feedback.
Yeah, I feel fully heard. Thanks, Sally.
Okay. So I'm gonna pick Kathy, if that's okay. Kathy, I just wanted to say that I in the very beginning, it just seemed like impossible to reach people, and it was kind of just like a block in my own mind. But then when I talked with my brother and sister, they were willing to participate, and I'll just stop there.
So when you began this, it was a real struggle. And then you were maybe surprised that some of your family members wanted to participate.
Right. And even my husband, even though he wouldn't actually just sit down and participate in an empathy circle format, we were able to communicate reflectively. So whatever I said to him, he would reflect and confirm he understood. And then we've been doing it ever since. And it's, we call it Earth. So.
So even though your husband and you aren't doing a formal practice, you're still using the skills of empathy and reflection. And that's working really well in your relationship. You said something about earth at the end that I didn't quite catch.
We call what we do just earth, that we're walking solid on the earth in communication, listening, and
Yeah, so this has been nourishing to the point of you now have a name for it. It's walking on earth.
right. And I was encouraged because right when we started this, my girlfriend that I called yesterday, who seemed to hang up on me, called me. So I do know that you know, she's still in communication and something just was up. So I'm very excited.
So you were concerned that you hadn't heard from your girlfriend, and now she has contacted you. So you're real excited about that.
Right. And I felt fully heard.
Okay, so it's my turn. So Edwin, would you be willing to listen to me?
Yep, listening.
Okay. It feels really rewarding to be in these circles with you, since you are the father of the empathy circles in this setting, in this form of them.
So it feels rewarding that since I'm the father of the empathy circle, so you get to be with the sort of the source of the
Right.
empathy circle. Yeah.
Right, yeah. And I think I've told you this before. I've been following you for a while, and I thought it was, I'm going to say the word weird that you were doing this. And now I see how amazing and impactful it is.
Yeah, so you've been following me, I guess, on Facebook, except for quite a while. I thought, oh, that's kind of weird what Edwin's doing. But now taking part, it's like, hey, this is pretty impactful.
Yeah. Yeah. And in fact, when Lou invited me to the empathy circles, I was like, I don't know about this, but I was just getting to know Lou. So I thought, okay, I don't want to push him away and poo-poo an idea he has that he thinks I might enjoy. So I just decided to come and ended up really liking it.
So it was through Lou's invitation that you came to it, and you wanted to keep the relationship going and with him, so you took part, and now you're really liking the process.
Yeah. Let's see if there's anything else I want to say about this. Yeah, I'm excited to bring it to the Peace Alliance, and really grateful that you and Lou have offered to help me get this started. I feel very supported and lucky and blessed.
So you would like to take this to the Peace Alliance and feel, blessed that you kind of came across this practice.
Yes, I am. I just feel so happy and excited about it. So something so, like you said, it's so genius. It's so simple, it's genius, right?
Yeah, it's the simplicity of it. There's a genius in the simplicity of it,
Yeah.
and it's really lighting you up. You really feel excited about it.
Yeah. And I love that you brought that hierarchy in, because that is so true. You can be a genius and just be so out there and nobody understands what's going on, right? And then something like this is so simple, but it's genius.
Yeah, so you're really appreciating that hierarchy of genius, but then simplicity, actually, sort of, you're appreciating that the importance of simplicity. And that was the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
So do we still have time, Dominic? Should I? Okay, I'll speak to you then, Dominic.
Yeah, listen, sorry, I had to charge my AirPods. Yeah, I'm ready.
Oh, okay. Well, I had stuff that I was going to say. I don't know. My memory is getting such that my short-term memory is like I could feel some things I wanted to say, and then when I'm on the spot to speak, I kind of forget them.
Yeah, I'm hearing your short-term memory is kind of not what it used to be, and that you had some ideas before on what to say, but now you're on the spot, kind of forgetting.
Yeah, I think it's because of that management, because I'm keeping track of all the other rooms. I just posted we have 10 minutes to closing. So that, doing all the management stuff does take a lot of sort of consciousness, and, it keeps, you can't just like totally let go and just, get into the total flow.
Yeah, I'm hearing the management process kind of takes away the mental capacity, because you're observing all the rooms and saying 10 minutes closing, and that it's harder to just get immersed in the exercise.
Yeah, and when I speak, I want to see what's kind of is bubbling up, and sometimes like nothing bubbles up. I'm just kind of waiting for something to bubble into consciousness. It's like an empty void there, so it's kind of funny.
So I hear the way you approach these things is seeing what bubbles up, and I guess when you're managing, maybe it's like nothing bubbles up and it's kind of empty void.
Oh yeah, what's bubbling up is I did send Dennis Kucinich through the Peace Alliance. I sent him an email saying, "Hey, we're glad to do empathy circles with you." And I was in a call with Kathy, and with Dennis Kucinich, the politician, and he said, "Oh, send us in ideas and stuff for his campaign as mayor." And I said, "Hey, we'd love to do empathy circles. We're here to support you in holding empathy circles, etc." It's been like 2 weeks, haven't heard a word from him. So.
Yes, I hear that. What's bubbling up is you corresponded with Dennis Kucinich.
Dennis Kucinich. He's probably early for young people. If I don't know, he ran for president, and he was a congressman who had advocated for a Department of Peace, and now he's running for mayor of Cleveland. And he kind of put it out there, "Hey, I want ideas and need support." And I said, "Yeah, we'll support you with empathy circles," and never heard back.
Oh, got it. So he ran for president at one point. He was a congressman. Now he's the mayor of Cleveland, and he kind of posted like I want ideas, and I'll finish a reflection. And then you sent him an idea, and you haven't heard back yet. So it's kind of, that's what's bubbling up.
Exactly. I feel fully heard.
Great. Thank you, Evan. So we have like a minute left, I guess. Let's turn the last 4 minutes into a debrief. So Sally, how was that for you?
It was very encouraging for me to listen, and I really can't say anything other than I'm super, and I didn't turn her off to empathy, and that it's, it takes a while to get some warmed up, to the idea, but I think the block is within oneself, mostly. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. It was nice. Just I think once everything gets flowing, it's hard to stop. So thanks, Sally. I know you're on a phone, so it's much harder. So I think that went really smooth given all that. Yeah, does anyone else have any comments? Kathy?
Sure. It just gets easier and easier with each round. I think by the third or fourth round that the people are just engaged and understand what's going on.
Sweet, thank you.
Yeah,
Evan,
I'll second that. It does get easier. After people have done, if everyone knows how to do it, there's almost nothing to do for facilitation and upcoming. It's more when people are new and still kind of learning that need a lot of facilitation. I would mention that as participants, you don't want to have side conversations. Like I had that comment there from Prasanna that you posted in the chat, or Sally turning on your video and giving the big thumbs up. It's sort of as you want to be totally focused on the speaker and not be sort of having side conversations. So I just give that all as a little bit of a tip, even if you're wanting to support someone, and you can't totally help it. Sometimes you smile and stuff like that, that's okay. But to do a big motion where because you're sort of taking the attention onto yourself by doing that, and takes the awareness away from the speaker.
Sweet, thank you, Edwin. Prasanna, any comments?
Yes, Yeah, for me also, when I was actually going back to the thought of when you get your chance, then you speak. So when I commented, I was like, oh, I took away a chance. That was not my chance to be speaking. It just came naturally because he was looking so cute. Was Kathy was asking about himself and he was reflecting about himself. And he was, and I commented, and then I reflected. Oh, that was not my chance to speak. I could have spoken that when my chance to speak came. So I was getting a hang of it. Oh, that's what the difference is all about. Focus on them, and when things come to you, then you focus and you, so that other person will also hear you. So yeah, thanks.
Great, thank you. And I guess everyone's come back now. So thanks.
Thanks, Dominic. It was really well done. Very grounded.
Sweet, thank you.
Warm. Graham, I think you're up.
Oh, thank you for waiting.
You're in charge here. You got to keep
wakey,
the script.
Wakey, Graham. Wakey, wakey. Okay, so the idea here is that we say across the space of 30 seconds.
1 minute.
Okay, 1 minute. What our takeaways are from our experience today. And I will start at the bottom of the screen and I go up to the top. And so Dean, you're at the bottom of the screen, followed by Larry.
So my takeaway from today was to remember that we're aspirational in the XR principles and values. It was the last point that was made very succinctly and very, very well by Tatiana. But during the circle today, it was very insightful, and it was good to see that the ladies are going along their journey and how far they've come already. So I am very empowered to carry on my part of the process because of the energy I'm gaining from those around me. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Dean. And so Larry, followed by Tatiana.
So I'm loving these empathy circles and realizing that what we're doing here, each of us, all of us together, creating the safe space for humanity to be itself, is overriding thousands of years of civilization's domination, patriarchal thought system, and we're doing it one heart at a time. And I'm glad to be here. Wonderful circle. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. And so Tatiana, you're up, followed by Michelle.
My experience was absolutely lovely and just reinforced for me how important these circles are for myself and how much I believe they can offer humanity and sort of reintegrating our sort of polarized humanity into ourselves and among each other, and how necessary that is, because whatever's coming, we're going to need it. And it's, yeah. So I felt like the circle itself was quite sublime. My learnings were, just everybody brings something to it that's unique, some turn of phrase that I like, etc. So I took some notes on turns of phrases, and I'm feeling a lot of gratitude to the people who facilitated for us. And yeah, it just reinforced again my belief, not that had wavered, but it was nice to have a object lesson. Thank you.
Thank you, Tatiana. So Michelle, you're up, followed by Anne.
Thanks, Graham. In our circle, we had Ruff and Cynthia and Lou as our trainer, and it was like what came up really was this idea that the practice is simple but not easy, and yet both of our facilitators like made it look extremely easy and almost poetic, poetic. So there was like a depth and a beauty and a flow. So it was really magical. I'm just really, really grateful for everybody on the breakout.
Thank you, Michelle. So Anne, you're up now, followed by Cecilia.
I really enjoy the hive mind that we collaborate in these little circles and pool our knowledge and wisdom and comments and move forward from it. And it was just a joy to be in a circle with a new participant to me. Eric is new to me, and it was just wonderful to see him taking off and flying.
Thank you, Anne. So Cecilia, followed by Ralph, please.
And I'm also so grateful for a lovely time with my group, and I take with me so many things, but I will print a PDF with the instruction and learn it by heart, and I get myself a better timekeeper. Thank you.
Thank you, Cecilia. So Ralph, tell us your takeaways, followed by Lou's wire.
One of my takeaways is a question: is it possible to have too much fun? Because it was glorious fun. I didn't want it to end. You know, at some point I'd be malnourished and have to get something to eat or something like that. And the other one is the alternation between how inviting it is to do it and fascinating and easy, and a wonderful reminder spelled out by Lou that this is really very well thought out, multidimensional process that one can get better at. Can do it, you know, can do it today, this afternoon, but to get really good at it is a very intriguing prospect.
Thank you, Ralph. And so Lou, followed by Cynthia G.
Yeah, so I was in a circle with Cynthia and Ralph and Michelle, and Michelle's lovely, wonderful facilitation. And it was a total delight to be with Cynthia and Ralph as they practiced their intros and practiced facilitation and made the discoveries that they did, and total delight. And I agree with Ralph, way too short. It would have been so fun to keep going and to do that with each other. And I also want to emphasize just what came away strongly for me was the idea that, like when you're learning to drive a car, there's a million things to pay attention to: the speedometer, the road, the lights, the signs, your speed, everything. And it's hard to track all of that. And same with the empathy circle. There's a lot of things to track, and it's easy to say, oh, well, it's just so easy to do, but there's actually a lot to pay attention to. So if you're feeling like you're just getting settled and that there's a lot to do, that's very normal. And just be reassured that just like driving, like you probably can drive a car now without thinking about it much, you will eventually with practice feel that way in an empathy circle, that it'll just feel natural and you'll know just what to do.
Thank you, Lou. So Cynthia, you're up now, followed by Celine.
Yeah, so just echoing the incredible experience I had with Lou, Michelle, and with Ralph. The time goes too fast. You feel like, we could go on for multiple hours and it would be enjoyable and we continue to learn. One of the things that was really brought home for me was the experiential piece. I mean, there just literally is nothing like doing it. And doing that in this iterative way, circling through again and again and again, and having that be the thing that brings us, as Lou said, from all these disparate pieces, that you're looking at into a kind of much more automatic system as a facilitator. The second thing I want to say is that Michelle and Lou did such a beautiful job for me and Ralph in creating that safe container where it just felt very clear that we could you know, try and do and add. And as I said, there's no way to fail, but, you know, in learning something new, there's a lot of kind of trying things out and going, yeah, it's not quite the word that I want to use next time, or at least that's how I felt. And so being able to do that and just in a totally safe container is just really important. I loved every minute of it.
Thank you, Cynthia. So Celine, followed by Eric, please. You're muted, Celine.
I loved our circle and by how much I learned. And from, you know, we had Eric who was facilitating his first circle, and we had Anne who's done many, and Graham and me in between. And I took away from everybody, and I appreciated so much the heartfulness and sincerity of everybody's sharing. It was lovely. Thank you.
Thank you, Celine. So Eric, you're up now, followed by Bill.
Thanks, Graham. I'm going to try to keep these succinct. First thing is just real gratitude for the clear map or a pathway that this whole process like lays out for us, kind of, Lou, like you said, very well thought out and something to just follow, which I really appreciate. I mean, still thinking about kind of marketing, this idea of like early adopters. There was a lot of talk about the influx of people from LinkedIn who had like professional investment and like why this is, they're like searching for it and trying to apply that to my circles. And it's like frictionless marketing is like something that's very interesting to me. It's just pulling people in who are hungry for this anyway. I love that. And then also really getting in touch with my fear of feedback and fear of doing things poorly. And just the stage fright that I had, even while surrounded by some of the most, you know, gentle, kind, and supportive folks, like still feeling just like some amount of terror. So just like being with that a little bit.
Thank you. So Bill?
Yeah, I'm always very appreciative of everybody. I do believe we're trying to overcome, 10,000 years of conditioning, and it's not easy. And I have so much appreciation for the people who are putting forth the effort, who see it. It helps me not feel so alone or so hopeless. So I really want to express my gratitude around that. And then in our circle, I was really impressed about the sophistication of the comments and the questions and things like that. I thought Ben did a great job facilitating, and I was in with Joelle and also Mina. And we really had a very high level, discussion about the mechanisms of the empathy circle, which I personally enjoyed a great deal. So thank you all.
Thank you very much, Bill. So Ben, you're up, followed by Joelle.
Yeah, thanks. So, I know I've been appreciating, seeing people's engagement and generosity in this process. So, I feel really glad to be part of this community of practice. And personally, I'm not, was a little bit oblivious and quite tired. So I'm not sure how I've been showing up as a trainee or as a facilitator or as myself or as some part of myself. Not even sure I've been tracking that. But yeah, I think this is a beautiful practice, and there are so many layers to it, and beautiful people to explore this with. Yeah, I think that's that's everything I've got to say at the moment. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Ben. So Joelle, followed by Mina from Chicago.
Yeah, I think I'm noticing how helpful it is to have in our group, there were 2 of us that were learners and 2 people that were more experienced. And I feel like there's, I learned from both types of groups in my own learning process. Yeah, grateful. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Joelle. So Mina, you're up, followed by, that's Tatiana's second one. Anyway, you're on, Mina.
All right. So we had a really good discussion about what to do when people overshare and how to handle that. And I think we had different opinions. And but it was very instructive for me because I've had that happen in a previous cohort. So it was a good discussion. I enjoyed the practice. I enjoyed the just kind of getting better at it and getting more comfortable with it.
Thank you, Mina. So Sally Rodman, followed by Prasanna. Are you available, Sally?
Hi, yeah, I'm kind of in the process of constructing part of the house, and I just was gonna say one thing that Edwin said about the concept of intelligence and kind of in a hierarchical table. You get to genius at the very top, but then he found that on top of genius was simple. And that just threw me because I felt very uncomfortable about genius being on top of intelligence. And I think it basically says humanity is on the top. And thank you.
Thank you, Sally. And Prasanna, followed by Kathy.
Yeah. It was such an honor to be in the company of Advin, Sally, Kathy, Dominic, having the opportunity to learn from each of them. It was especially an honor. And actually, what my takeaway was that learning is such a continuous thing. You can't really learn these values through reading PDFs or documents and websites, going to website. You really need to participate in forums like these and practice it. It's just not a one-time thing. Oh, I learned it. Oh, I went there. It's over. Done and dusted. I am an empathy expert. Oh, I know these things. It just doesn't work like that. It's a lifestyle. It's an everyday thing which we need to do. Then we get somewhere to simplify our lives because it's so complicated. So that was my major takeaway, and definitely I can see that there's so much scope for growth, and that's so exciting that I can grow as a being, and there's a scope for that because of such forums and platforms. I get to see that. So thank you so much to each one of you who's taking out the time to be in service for the humanity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prasanna. So Kathy, followed by Dominic, please.
Wow, Prasanna, that was beautifully said. Thank you. Yes, our circle is fun. I really enjoyed that. I feel really bubbly right now. And so I'll build upon what Sally said. The hierarchy that Edwin described, this is so simple, it's genius. And I believe that. So, and the experience of practicing was really helpful. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Kathy. And so Dominic, followed then by Edwin.
Thanks, Graham. I think everything, all the profound statements have been said, so I'll just keep it simple. I like Lou's analogy about driving, because kind of when I'm thinking about facilitating and being a trainee, I'm not really fully there in a way, so I gotta work on that. And like Edwin was saying, commenting that too, like it's harder to like dive in fully when we're timing the whole session and making sure everyone has their space. So that's a growth point for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominic. So Edwin, followed by myself.
Okay, so for me, it was thinking about the development of the practice. You know, we keep iterating on it. And this time we had the trainers actually presenting, being participants, and also hopefully those were all recorded. So the idea there was that we can post those and there'll be a list of those sample presentations. So as a participant, you know, in future trainings, people can come and see that and kind of know what to expect. So if you have any ideas, any suggestions for improving the practice, you know, you can post it, you know, send us an email or post it in the feedback. So yeah, and thanks to everyone in my group. I always learn every time. I'm learning something, so thanks for that.
Thank you, Edwin. And from me, like Edwin says, every one of these circles, there's just tons and tons of learning. And for me, my takeaway is that as facilitators, we are not responsible for the outcome of the group. We are not responsible for what how other people feel or what their takeaways from the group are. We just provide the space. And for me, what I also kind of realize is that I need to feel a little bit more as to what the others are experiencing, and not using myself as a barometer for the health and well-being of that particular breakout group. And so a really valuable experience today. And I thank you all very much indeed. And I believe that Michelle is the person who takes over to the next section.
Oh, thanks so much, Graham. Yeah, I'm going to take us into the closing. So to close out, are there some final trainer comments? So we can either do popcorn or I can go to each. Yeah, Edwin, please. Thank you.
So part of the training is also to be sort of spreading it. And we did add that as another feature, another sort of assignment to kind of help get the word out. And we do have that LinkedIn event. So if you are on LinkedIn, I just posted the link to the introductory cafes that we're doing. We hold those on Saturdays, as well as once this cohort is done, we'll have maybe a month of intro cafes. And that LinkedIn event is the one that's sort of the gateway to that. And if you click on that, and if you're on LinkedIn and you feel inspired, you can actually invite 1,000 friends on LinkedIn. You go through, you just click them all and invite them to that event. Right now, there are, I just bring it up, 3,400 people have sort of signed up, and maybe 40 or so come to the actual event. So, but that's a really good way to kind of help support get the word out. Yeah, that's it. Thanks, Michelle.
Thanks so much, Edwin. Lou, did you want to share something?
Actually, the thought that's in my mind right now is just that the more you practice, the more you will learn, and the more you will, the questions that you have that are relevant to this class will surface. So I really encourage you to practice. And Edwin mentioned there's the thing that's happening on Saturday where it looks like they have lots of circles. So that's a good opportunity to practice. And even if you can't get 3 or 4 people together, even if you just get one person and you do empathy back and forth with them, although that doesn't really give you facilitation practice. Yeah, so if there's a way that you can get people into, more than, if you get 2 people plus you into a circle, then you'll have facilitation. And what you're learning here will have a lot more meaning for you if you are also doing some facilitation.
Excellent. Bill?
I just wanted to say that in our breakout room, there were a lot of questions about challenges in the facilitation, and that is what we'll be doing, over the next few weeks, is dealing with challenges as you feel ready for them. But I found that's a nice confluence between people's desires and also the design of the training. So that's it. Thanks.
Amazing. Thank you. Jean and Anne, did either of you want to share something as well?
I'll just like to say that if you're holding a circle, and you're holding a circle that may be larger than you expected, or you may feel that it's larger than you can hold on your own, there are other facilitators out there. We do have a whole community of facilitators. So if you're asked to do a facilitation of a circle, don't feel that you're doing it on your own. Call upon the community, and I can guarantee you there will be some people that will be available to help you in your circling. Thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Dean. Anne, would you like to share some closing trainer comments with us? Oh, you're on mute as well. Sorry.
All the time there's this mutual exchange going on, and we're all learning from each other, and I love it. Thank you, everybody.
Oh, thanks to all of our trainers. So okay, so we'll review what we did in the session. So we practiced introducing the empathy circles and the empathy circle process with instructions on how to participate in an empathy circle. To everybody who wanted to practice facilitating a short empathy circle, and we debriefed the experience at the end of the circle. So what's coming up next week is, so just check the times for in session 3, we'll be practicing facilitation again, but next week we're going to like play with challenges. So you're going to have the choice to accept some challenges. There's a link to a challenge catalog that will be shared by Edwin in the mail that goes out, and you can either ask for the challenge that you want, pick no challenge, or as difficult or as easy or as hard as you want. Like, so you'll get to choose, but and your trainer will, so your trainer's not going to give you any more challenge than you're able for. It's just gonna be fine. But yeah, so that's the big focus next week. We have, yep, so that's next week's part. The next section's on assignments. So on the assignments, Edwin will send all of us out an email on a reminder to fill out our session feedback surveys. The link should be in the chat. Yeah, there it is. Cool. Hold an empathy buddy call, and you'll be paired up with a new buddy this week, and try to facilitate an empathy circle with family, with friends, etc. And finally, if you can post in the chat one feeling that you have as a result of being here today. So joy, gratitude, expansion, peace, happy, transformation, energized, friendly, enlightened, Codino, gratitude, thrown open, appreciation, thanks. Oh, wow, yeah. Enthused, peaceful. Okay, so yeah, so we're at our final closing now. So what we do is like, we just capture an image of the group with our jazz hands. So we'll just do our wave goodbye. Until next week.
See you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Until next time.
Take care.
Everyone, thank you.